Are we live? Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Bianca Nelson. This is the beginning of the podcast. This is the pilot of the name of the podcast. Let's start there. Is pain or purpose over pain. With this particular podcast, we're going to talk about various areas of our life. It's going to be funny. It's going to be sad. It's going to be, you might get upset. You might get your feathers ruffled. But it is what it is. We're going to talk about ways that we can, and also situations that various people have been into, where they may have thought it was just the end. It was over. Myself have come into that situation a lot of times. So the title of this podcast, or this episode, is going to be, how did we get here? How did I get here? Why am I sitting in front of Mike? And why am I talking to you all today? Because Tone made me, absolutely. So first things first, to introduce myself, I am 41 years of age. I have 4 children, 3 of which are teenagers, so if you can understand that life. And my youngest is 8, who lives in Atlanta with his dad. And I am a corporate. So I work a 9-to-5 corporate, as well as I cater. 3B's Catering. That's me. That's her. That's she. So y'all can always hit me up for your catering needs. I got your egg rolls on deck. I got the breakfast sandwiches that I just started. That's just a little shout out. But let's get into the topic. Why are we here? The reason that I'm here, what brought me here, was kind of it's a sad story. I just recently, about a year ago, I'll never forget, my boyfriend that I actually was together. We were together for 5 years. He actually passed away. The way that he passed away is currently an epidemic in our city. He passed away from opioids, which was laced with fentanyl. Of course, this is not a story that a lot of people like to tell, because there's a lot of embarrassment. There's a lot of people being ashamed about it. But for me, because that was somebody that I loved him wholeheartedly, his children, just, that was my man. And shit, it hurt. But I had to take a step back, and I had to think of, my children. I had to think of his children that were also watching me, and how they would view me if I just sat there and did nothing. So some may look at me and say, well, how did you even get mixed up in a situation like that? Or, and I'm going to say this first and foremost. There's going to be nothing in this podcast that is going to be disrespectful to him or his family. That's another thing that I was always worried about. If I told my story, because I do have a story too. So there's nothing that's going to be disrespectful to him or his family. It's just me speaking my truth and my experience in dealing with somebody who was addicted to pills, perks, all of the above. So we met. It was, it was very fast. It was very, we fell in love. Like I said, we were together for 5 years. I did not find out that he was actually doing such, hard drugs until about a year into us being together, which at that point in time, I loved you. I'm loyal. We gonna try to see what we can do to get this together. There were some ups and downs. This man was a good man. He was an electrician. He, took care of his kids. And so when you look at that and you think, oh, there's nothing going on here. Well, yeah, there was. And so I think that was the hardest part for me, is that I was able to see beyond the drugs. I was able to see beyond what I knew was not right, or what I knew that I had not grown up or being in that type of environment, because I loved him, and that's just the way that my love goes. We'll talk about that in another podcast. However, or another episode. However, I did not want to necessarily give up on him. So, I toughed it out. There were times where, he would be sick. There would be times where, he would need money. And you're kind of fighting with yourself, because you're like, okay, listen, I know that, I may be enabling you right now, but I don't want you to be sick, because I know you got to work, So it was a fight for 5 years or 4 years after I found out. So literally it was a fight. The night that he actually passed away, we had kind of like the week before, like our relationship was a struggle. I knew he loved me. I knew he loved my kids. But then there were drugs. The drugs were right there. And so the night before, the night that he passed away, we actually were talking about our future. He was actually doing a lot better in terms of weaning himself off. And so I think that's what kind of just took me like, hurt me even more, was because this was not something that he necessarily wanted to be on. The reason why he got there, that's not my story to tell. I know the story, but it's not my story to tell. So he's there. And so, we're talking on the phone. He's saying, I'm going to come over there. We're talking about our future. We're talking about moving in together, all that good type of stuff. All of a sudden he gets tired. So I'm like, do you still want to come over here? Because we didn't live together. So he was like, do you still want to come over here? You sound like you're tired. He's like, no, I'm good. I'm, for a minute. What I thought, he fell asleep. And what I thought the snore was, it was actually his last breath. So just imagine being on the phone with someone, and literally the last thing he said to you was, "We gonna be good." And then 2 days later, you find out that he's in the house, gone, in the same spot that he talked to you. So I was literally the last person that he spoke with in his life. There's a lot that I sit with that. I have a lot of guilt. I have a lot of, just a lot of guilt with that. So after he passed away, me being the girlfriend, there was, there's really no kind of moves I can make, or there's really no decisions that I can make. So I kind of just got in where I fit in. And I just was gracious to his family that they allowed me to play the role that I did, and allowed me to actually be in the space and be in that presence the way that they did. So I'll be forever grateful for them, for that. So as I said, I work a corporate job. So, of course I have to take time off. As I'm taking my time off, my friends are coming over. They are being awesome. I'm also learning about different people who did not come around. And so, you start to think of different things and different ways of learning how to cope. I didn't want to drink it away. I didn't want to smoke it away. But I smoke. But, I didn't want that to become my antidote. So I had to figure out a way to be okay with being okay. I went through a period of, I don't want to smile. I don't want to laugh. I don't want to even enjoy my own children or his children, because they were still living where they were actually living with me after he passed. So I went through that whole period. And then I went through a period of, you know what? there's always something that comes from a sad situation or a tragic situation. I started to look at the way that my life had actually kind of panned out. My life before that was not roses and, just everything was grand. I'm a product of molestation. It didn't happen to me. However, it happened to someone in my family, close knit. Up until that time, I'm a product of a single family home. So, there was a lot, seeing my mother work through a lot, seeing my mother actually, go to school, become a teacher. I'm a pastor's daughter. So there's a lot that I went through. Even myself, when I became grown, having, I have 4 children with 3 different men. I call myself a unicorn because I'm not your typical, I guess you can say, baby mama. I don't do drama. I will leave you where you stand. And so all of those scenarios and how they played out, it definitely, I think, helped me cope with the situation that happened with GT. It definitely helped me cope with losing him, and finding different ways of making sure that I'm able to still keep standing. I've had situations with my children where me trying to figure out how to feed my children, having children, 3, bam, bam, bam. My first oldest 3 are actually 14 months apart. So having children that close, and not really wanting to get on welfare, not really wanting to ask for help. That's a lot. There's a lot of struggle in there. And so I learned how to maneuver through life. And even as I say that to my friends a lot, when I talk to my friends, and I'm grateful for my friends because they actually listen to, or they call me for advice on different things. And that's one thing that I actually just told one of my friends. Hey, you have to learn how to maneuver through life. When shit happen, cry about it. Give yourself time to cry about it so that you can feel it. And I'm not a therapist. I don't know if this is the right shit to say, but it makes it works for me. So I feel like if it works for me and I don't have it all together and I'm, I got a bunch of shit going on, I definitely think that it can work for other people. So with this podcast, I really want to focus on a lot with just making sure that you're tapping into the power that you have within yourself. Who knew that I would have this situation where this man, that I love so much would die. And I would have to figure out again, you're independent. You get someone that you get in a relationship and now he's gone. And now I have to figure out, I got to call somebody to get my car fixed. 2 weeks after he passed away, somebody broke into my car and bust my windows. I have to figure all of that out. How I can't just call him, So just learning how to maneuver through life, learning how to just be okay with shit happening because it's life. Shit is gonna happen. You're gonna have a bill that's gonna come up, and god damn it, you're not gonna be able to pay that shit. You gotta figure it out. That's all that life is. Even with me being raised in the church and a lot of that, that's going to be another episode we'll talk about church hurt. You being raised in the church and everybody's saying just pray about it. Well, after I goddamn pray about it, what the hell am I supposed to do? I'm just supposed to sit here? Yes, your faith, you're supposed to have all of that, but what else am I supposed to do after I've prayed about it? So, when it comes to anxiety talk and all of this, just pray, it'll be okay. No. Yes, you got to pray. However, you have to work. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about a lot of different topics. Like I said, it's going to be funny. It's going to be, maybe sad, whatever the case may be. I want to make sure that after the scenario or after GT passed away, my main purpose, I believe, is to help other people see that life is just life. Life is going to happen. Shit is going to happen. Shit is going to hit the fan. And at the end of the day, while you're still here, there's no way that you can just sit and just sulk in the bullshit. Because you have people that's looking after you. You have kids. You have, family members. There's people that depend on you whether you know it or not. I get that a lot. People come to me and they say, you really inspire me. And I'm like, little old me, I'm still struggling. Yeah, I got a good job. Yeah, I do this and yeah, I do that, but I'm still struggling. But you never know who's looking at you and who's watching you. And even, in that, I have a daughter. My daughter is watching me. So I, again, just to make sure, that, we have to make sure that as life happens to us, as the bullshit happens to us, that we're able to see the good, that we're able to see something good out of it, make something good out of the situation. After GT passed away, I, started to do a grief journal, which that's on its way. That's something really hard because outside of me having to write the grief journal, I also have to dig deep and think about the certain situations and things of that nature that me and him have went through. And so all of that is in there. So that's on its way as well. Of the same title is actually turning your purpose or your pain into purpose. And so that's that. So thank you all. Thank you all so much for joining me. Hope to see you on the next episode. Bye.